Welcome into a loaded, jam-packed, action-packed episode 47 of the Cleveland Sports Realm. I'm Jerome. That's Kevin. Derek's over there controlling and pushing buttons and making everything happen behind the scenes. So, Kevin, we can't waste any time this season.
No, we got to get right into it.
We got a lot to cover, man. This baseball team that we didn't think we'd be covering at this point. Well, hell, I don't think anybody honestly thought they'd be covering this baseball team.
No.
Besides the beat writers, besides like those who have to, like the Zach Meisels, Paul Hoynes of the world. Like, the talk show hosts, podcast, all people in our kind of business or line of business.
Yeah.
We thought this was done. No need to talk about them.
Yeah, well, we recorded probably, maybe 2-3 episodes ago that we had both, you had officially got me on the bandwagon of the season being over. I had declared it over 2 or 3 episodes ago. And obviously it took a colossal collapse, which we will get to from a different AL Central team. But the Tribe are in the thick of it, and right now, as we record Wednesday evening, they are in sole possession of first in the AL Central.
They're tied.
They have a tied record, but they have the tiebreaker. So they have
yes.
possession of first place in the AL Central.
Yes, they do. So right now, as we record Wednesday evening, they're not playing right now as it's raining out there. So we'll see. Hopefully they get this game in tonight. I wouldn't be surprised with Detroit being here tomorrow. Obviously, you have to get this game in under no circumstances can you not.
Yeah, huge implications. It's not like last year when Jose got kind of shorted of that 40 home run season.
We'll never know. But something tells me he would have done it. He has a knack for the big moment.
I don't know. I mean, it's still like the odds of hitting a home run in a game are maybe 15, 20%, 25%. So the odds aren't great, but yeah, it probably could have happened.
So anywho, I'm thinking maybe if we don't see the weather outside of our studio here clear up soon, I'm thinking maybe day-night doubleheader tomorrow because you're supposed to play tomorrow night. They're going to be here tomorrow during the day. So why not?
Yeah, and it's just before 7 p.m. as we're recording, and we're about probably, 15 minutes southwest of downtown right now, and it's barely drizzling outside where we are. I'm not sure how bad it is downtown. Though.
Right, absolutely. So let's get into this. How did this happen? Well, as Kevin pointed out, it takes two to tango, and as great as they have been and what they've done and this pitching staff, which we'll get into extensively.
Yep.
Bo Naylor rising from his 170 up to 200, which is, Bo Timber is here alive and well.
Yeah, Mr. September is what we were calling him.
That's right. And so he's been a big part of it. But as Kevin pointed out, it takes two to tango. And what's going on in Detroit is unfathomable and something of the likes like we've never seen before. To blow that big of a lead, okay, and I'm going to put it out there. If I was a Detroit Tigers fan, I would be in shambles right now. I wouldn't even, at this point, I think all the anger would be out of me. I would just be defeated, sad, and want to curl up in a ball and cry.
Well, I saw a pretty interesting, I wouldn't say stat, but interesting tweet from ESPN earlier that just under 2.5 weeks ago, the Tigers had a 99.9% chance to win the AL Central, and the Guardians' odds were at like plus 10,000 if you were to bet on them right now, and they're just under even now. They're minus like 130 or 140, I think, last time I checked. So just crazy the turn of events, especially in such a short period of time. I mean, this isn't. Going back to last season, I remember the Tribe had about a 14-game lead on the division, and it had gotten all the way down to, I want to say, 3 or 4, and they had kind of blown it, but it was over a duration of time, and it wasn't at basically the buzzer of the regular season. So to be a Tigers fan and have, roughly 20 games left of the season and, a 13, 14-game lead and absolutely blow it in that time it's absolutely inexcusable.
Right. It's historic. It's something like we've never seen before. Remember what our ball club did last year? We got out to this insane lead. And we had started the first 60 games 40-20. And what it resulted in is those all ended up being very important victories because then we kind of took our foot off the gas and coasted and played 500 ball the rest of the way. Well, the Tigers, they got off to where at one point they kept having the most. They were the first to 40 wins, first to 50 wins in all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
first to 60 wins. they didn't take their foot off the gas. Folks, they crashed the car and flipped it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shot right now that they do not make the playoffs at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like there is a legitimate chance of that happening.
I would have to believe the way they're playing. I mean, and look, last night, let's get into that game a little bit, because last night, if they were going to win, and maybe this is a little bit of homerism, if they were going to win the American League Central, you would have believed that last night would have been their first, final keep Cleveland at arm's length. They had the best pitcher, who I believe the best pitcher in the world out there.
Yeah,
Tarek.
I believe he is too.
And that's their not even secret weapon. I mean, that's their well-known best weapon that they have. I mean, he is the lifeblood of that team. And what happened last night in that bottom of the sixth inning, is unlike.
I've never seen anything like it.
Unbelievable. And we know.
I mean, you have the best pitcher in baseball who gets a balk. He has a pass ball. He hits a batter. He walks Austin Hedges. Like, all of these things happen in one inning. But I saw it's the only time ever that a Cy Young winner has ever had all of those things happen in one inning before, ever.
Well, and so you look at, let's break it down for, I'm sure 99.9% of our listening audience saw what happened, but we'll get it there. So Quan bunts, Martinez bunts, and Skubal decides to long snap the ball way over his punter's head.
Yeah, basically.
And deep into right field. So now that's a huge mistake.
Runners on second and third. Nobody out, and you got our best player up to bat.
Ramirez clearly gets jammed.
Yeah.
Barely makes contact, hits a swinging, basically for all intents and purposes, an oh shit swing to third base. You know how Jose is. He's gonna beat that out. I mean, it's like a 50-foot swinging bunt, if that. So now you score one. That puts him on first and third. And then after that, David Fry, and, thoughts and prayers with David Fry, because that was pretty disgusting. And you could see. You
got to feel for Tarek on that, too, a little bit.
And you feel for Tarek, too, because I thought that messed Tarek up mentally.
Well, you could tell as soon as it hit Fry's face and he went down to the ground, he threw his glove and threw his hat off and just walked back. Like, he turned around and just started walking very slowly a little bit towards second base. Like, you could tell he was a little bit shaken up after doing that.
Absolutely.
And clearly unintentional.
And I know that in baseball, rivalries aren't as big as in football, but I'd say if we had one rival like that I could say we honestly have a true rivalry with, it'd be the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say this, like, I'd probably hate the Yankees more, but the Yankees don't feel the same way about us. So therefore, it just kind of goes right back to the AL Central. It's definitely the Tigers too. And I would say the Tigers definitely have more of a hate for us than we have for them, but there's still that rivalry that's there.
Right, absolutely, because the Tigers, they look at us, no matter who's on the roster, they look at us as big brothers. So Tarek, I respect what he did last night. You could tell it shook him up. And then not only that, we saw today, it came out from the media in Detroit, Tarek got a hold of Stephen Vogt and rode to the hospital.
Very cool. With
him. And that is really awesome. Props to Tarek. You know what he did, you could tell it messed up with him. But guess what? Unfortunately for him, the game had to go on.
Well, and that's where you separate the game from the personal side of things, right? Like last year, I know a lot of Cleveland fans and Tarek Skubal had some banter, throughout that ALDS.
Especially the playoffs.
Yeah, especially the playoffs, and that all comes down to that friendly competition aspect of it. We hate you right now, you hate us right now, but then at the end of the day, like, you did throw basically like a ball of cement and it hit somebody directly in the face. Like at that point, you separate the game from the personal side of things. And if you're a Tiger, or I shouldn't say if you're a Tiger, but if you are Tarek Skubal, playing for the Tigers, that the race for the AL Central right during those few minutes did not mean more than what was going on with David Fry. You know?
Absolutely. And so we applaud Tarek for everything he did there. And real quick before we get back to that inning, just an update. David Fry, multiple facial fractures, broken nose, but he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks. His season's over, but that's more of you just hope that, that's tough because that's your face right there. I'm sure
goodness.
In an immense amount of pain. And, but everybody took care of him. Ambulance, golf cart come out right away, and it was kind of scary seeing even on television.
Oh no,
So,
absolutely. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it live. But just seeing the replay and then rewatching the game afterwards, yeah, I mean that hit him square. And I'm sure you've seen the pictures of it of when it actually hit from the dugout.
Oh,
it looked rough. Yeah,
I was watching that live with fill-in host and social media guy Rob, and we're watching that together. And we both immediately we were on the couch and in chair immediately. Whoa! Oh my!
Yeah,
it was one of those, so. But the game did go on, and immediately George Valera steps in, and you could tell Tarek's shaking now because he throws a wild pitch. Now we're tied. And then you have still Jose at second now because he moves up to second on the wild pitch. Tarek balks.
Yeah.
The best pitcher in baseball balks, and you're looking at it, and you're like, are we in a fever dream right now? What is happening?
Yeah.
All Arias does is push a ground ball to first base. Guardians take the lead. Folks, the ball had not left the infield.
Yeah, it hadn't left the infield. I thought that was one of the funniest things, too. Against the best pitcher in all of baseball, the ball had not left the infield, and you've gotten 3 runs. And I'm going to say before the first out because Ramirez crossed the plate before Arias or before the first baseman got the ball to get Arias out. So before there was even an out, you were at 3 runs.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the only ball that left the infield was the one that Tarek lost his mind on and decided to long snap it deep into right field.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was the Tigers that threw it out of the infield. It wasn't the Indians that hit it out.
Never.
Yeah.
So that's how that all happens. And then Manzardo strikes out. And then obviously, you come and then the walk of Austin Hedges and just all of that. And it was unlike anything I've ever seen. A pitcher at the peak of his powers, like you're looking at like the modern day Sandy Koufax just crumbling like that. And I applaud the Guardians for doing what they did and bunting and pushing because the way Tarek was going last night, they weren't going to string a couple hits together and get a run. There was no, let's get a double, let's get a single. That wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, and I was actually just going to say, I do want to give a lot of credit to Stephen Vogt for that inning because I've been very critical, if you're a loyal listener to the podcast, I've been very critical of Stephen Vogt throughout the year. But clearly nothing was working with the lineup last night, Tuesday night, and it was clearly, they had talked about this in the dugout, clearly that they were going to try to do something else, and just, the Guardians are already known for being small ball and not hitting the ball out of the park a lot, even though the home run numbers have gone up a little bit this year. But they're known for the base hits. Get a walk, base hit home. That's how they try to score these runs. Or when they do hit home runs, as we talked about last week, they're typically solo shots, which we actually saw over the weekend. They scored like 5 solo shots Saturday. But I thought it was very interesting that that's the plan that they went to, and I saw a lot of people, just MLB fans in general that were like extremely livid with, is this really that enjoyable to watch? A lot of it were Yankee fans, believe it or not, which if it's not a home run, they basically want you out of that town.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, it was very interesting to see how the Guardians' plan of attack was and how it worked and how obviously the Fry getting hit had a little bit to do with it, obviously, but how that just completely frazzled Tarek Skubal.
Well, and it did. And listen, like we said, that was the only way they were going to do it. So whoever decided to call the bunts, whether it was Vogt, and I know we've been very critical of Vogt, but and a lot of the decisions he's made, and I stand by a lot of the lineups and this and that this year I didn't like. But when it's mattered the most, he's pushed all the right buttons again, and I don't know if he's going to win it again. I think the Toronto guy most likely probably is. That's John Schneider. Stephen Vogt is absolutely going to get some first place votes for manager of the year again. Because of the way this comeback out of nowhere.
Yeah, even you talk to very knowledgeable baseball fans, and they look at this Guardians team and say, yeah, they got Juan Ramirez, and then they just got a bunch of guys.
Yeah, and
you can't really say that about almost any other team right now that is in the playoffs or looking to get into the playoffs right now.
And I want to talk about that because probably the number one Tiger fan in the world, Chris Castellani.
Yep.
Many of our listeners probably have seen his stuff online. There is nobody more dedicated to the Detroit Tigers than Chris Castellani.
I think he's a top 1% fan of any fan base of any team ever. like for the Tigers.
I agree. And you saw a video, and I thought it was cool by Cleveland fans last night because we've been where they are many times. We've had that feeling of no hope, no nothing, whether it's been the baseball team, the basketball team, or the football team around here. And you watch Chris's last night, and he looked like a beaten, broken down man. And I am thrilled with where our team is. And screw the Tigers. I can't stand them. But personally for Chris, I actually felt a little bad last night.
Yeah, how could you? I mean, he was basically on the other side of this last year because the Tigers were basically
dead to rights.
They were absolutely dead to rights. And then all of a sudden, they make that push. They sneak into the playoffs. They win a playoff series to get to the ALDS.
The Astros.
I know, who have basically run the AL for the last 10 years. So, yeah, and then for basically to follow it up this year, to have the high expectations coming off a playoff series win, to have the lead that you did, to capture a division crown finally, and for that to just be taken away. And like, I don't want to speak too soon because it's very much still in the realm of possibility for the Tigers. I would still say it's pretty close to a 50-50 shot the remainder of the year between the Tigers and the Tribe. But yeah, I mean, like, how do you go into the postseason with any confidence in that team, whether you win the division or you sneak in?
Well, the only thing that's keeping the Detroit Tigers' hopes alive is Houston's having a little bit of a slide of their own. They've lost 4 in a row.
I saw that, actually.
And they are now out of the playoffs, which would be wild. I don't recall the last time we had playoffs without Houston Astros in it. It seems like inevitably they're there every year. So Detroit, I believe last night broke them officially. Maybe I'm being biased. I don't see them getting this division at this point.
No, I think you made a great point right when the show started, and basically saying they went into that game with their number one guy, the guy that even the Guardians have had trouble with. They had trouble with him last year. They've had trouble with him the majority of the year. This year, up until
baseball's had trouble with him.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. And then last week, obviously, we get a win over him as well. But that doesn't. I'm almost at a loss for words of what's going on in Detroit right now because that was the game that they needed.
I agree, and they knew it. They felt the pressure. They moved Tarek up for that game, and I think Detroit is doing things. Look, they were a pretty good offense this year.
Yeah,
they're doing things that's uncharacteristic.
Well, everybody's pressing. Everybody.
They struck out 19 times last night.
Did you see that Riley Green interview, by the way, after the game?
He was baffled.
They had mentioned 19, and he goes, tonight? And they went, yeah, and he was, oh my, like you could like, they not looking good.
No, they are shell shocked there. I don't know what Hinch can do. I mean, but this is on his watch, so he's got to take some fault in it too. He's a good manager. He's got to take some fault in him, I think, too, because he had talked about, ironically, yesterday on his pregame show on the Tigers Radio Network, he had talked about how they needed to get back to plate discipline. 19 of your 27 outs were strikeouts. I mean, I'll tell you, as disastrous as that sixth inning was for the Tigers and fantastic as it was for us, you can make an argument that's what lost the Tigers the game. I'm going to make an argument what lost the Tigers the game was Gavin looked to be beaten in the second inning. He had bases loaded, 1 out, and the Tigers had gotten a run in already, and the third inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. Tigers had gotten a run in already, and they struck out the next 2 batters, and the way that we couldn't touch Tarek and we needed basically voodoo magic to score 3 runs, had the Tigers put their foot on the gas there and knocked a couple more in off Gavin, that ball game was over.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, the Tigers probably walk out of Progressive Field with a win.
4-0 win, 5-0 win. But credit to Gavin, who again matched Tarek toe-to-toe and struck out 12 Tigers last night. He did give up the solo shot to Riley Green, which I also found another stat that was just remarkable. That was only Riley Green's 3rd hit on the entire season against us.
Oh, wow, really?
That is,
wow.
You're talking about their best offensive player has 3 hits off us the whole year.
Wow. I think that just goes to show as a whole how much trouble the Tigers have against the Guardians just in general. It's like a hump they can't get over. And I know we've made this comparison in the past, but it legitimately feels like the Browns from when they returned in 1999 up until about like 2017, 2018 when facing the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like.
It does. It's very comparable.
But except we're finally on the opposite side of that.
It didn't matter who the Steelers had. I mean, a duck hunter beat us. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Look at some of the names we're fielding. The Tigers fans are probably like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And again, Chris Castellani, and I mentioned him again last night. He goes, I'm not trying to disrespect the gentleman by any means, but he goes, a fellow by the name of Andrew Schneeman put together. He goes,
which goes to show you.
He goes, I don't even know if that's the fellow's name.
It's not.
It's not. We know that. He goes, but he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I know 2 guys in that lineup. He goes, Manzardo, I know 3. And that's where you got to give our team credit. And that's what leads us right into our next point, Kevin. This is a franchise that we've called the pitching factory for years and years and years.
Yeah, and I actually said it in our preview for the season of we didn't know how the pitching staff was going to look, and I said I trust them.
Yeah,
I don't even care who's out there. I trust that they're going to figure it out.
This is a franchise that has had multiple Cy Young winners in the last 25 years. I mean, in the last 20 years. With all that being said, all the pitching talent they had, whether it was Kluber, Carrasco, you want to pitch it back further. To CC and Cliff Lee. I mean, all of that in franchise history over the last month. This is the best ERA they've ever had. And I just can't believe it because, you're getting everybody to pitch at the right time. Parker Messick comes up. Not all that highly regarded of a prospect nationally, highly in the Guardians organization. He's shoving. Joey Cantillo, shoving. Slade Ciccone, shoving. I mean, the list goes on and on. Tanner Bybee's been pretty bad the whole year.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, here he comes, his last 2 starts, a complete game shutout, and giving up 1 run against the Tigers, matching Tarek Skubal even. I mean, where's this coming from?
No, it's probably that 6-man rotation. I know we talked about it last week, but I think having that extra day of rest for everybody, it really truly helps them. I truly think that.
I agree with you. Logan Allen even. I forgot to throw
Logan
him
Allen.
out there.
And right now, I would have to say, and I don't think this is a hot take by any means, but like the pitcher that I am most confident in right now when he steps on the mound is absolutely Gavin Williams.
Wow. Yeah, I have to agree. And I think we talked about this last week. You're probably looking at Gavin as being your 1 in a playoff series.
Bybee 2.
Tanner is your 2. And probably Slade is your 3.
I'd probably go Ciccone at 3 too.
And I'll tell you what the way they've pitched, because all the jokes have been made, like we said, nobody knows who's in this lineup. Hell, there's Guardians fans who don't know most of these guys, and I don't blame them.
We have a friend that's a diehard Guardians fan, watches every game, and texted us, who's this guy we got in center field?
Petey Halpin.
Yeah, it was Petey Halpin.
Yeah.
Who Petey Halpin's had a nice little week.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I feel bad Nolan Jones got hurt. I do. I genuinely do. But at some point, there had to be a way they had to take him off the roster. If that's the way it had to be, that's the way it had to be.
Yeah.
And,
I guess.
And you know what? Thank God. But
whoa.
If that's the way it had to be, I feel bad for him. I hope he rehabs. I hope he comes back. But don't add him back to the postseason roster. Ain't nobody missing him.
All right, now I got a question for you, Jerome.
Yeah.
So we've done buy, sell, or hold in the past.
Yes.
All right. So I got 3 options for you now. Are they going to win, as in win the division? Are they going to be in, as in just get into the playoffs? Or are they going to be out? So win, be in, or be out?
I think they're going to win this division.
I think they are too.
Last night broke the Detroit Tigers. And just wanted to remind our listeners, they're about to first pitch is getting underway here. They're going to start at 7:15. It's 7:12 in our studio clock here right now. So
okay, you said 7:15.
Yes,
7:15. Okay.
So
they're kick. Okay,
they're about to first pitch in about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
As
again, we record Wednesday evening.
Yes, thank you for the housekeeping. And so I think they're going to be and I think to me. And I'm going to go out there and say this, and this is where I give Vogt a lot of credit. The front office didn't do a damn thing for him. They tried to sell Quan at the deadline. They didn't do a damn thing in the offseason. Their biggest offseason additions now hitting 2-run doubles for the Chicago Cubs.
So this is where I kind of get a little bit conflicted in how much credit I want to give Vogt. And I do think Vogt's done a good job this year, as critical as I have been of him. But if you're in the playoffs and you still have a negative run differential, like, I don't know how much that necessarily speaks to.
Well, I think that's just the hitters suck. I mean,
well,
most
sure.
of the hitters in this lineup suck.
I mean, we've said before
that
all that
bad saying that even on this run they've had because, again, we just pointed out
the ERA.
That listen, this team still is not talented. There's no changing that. In order for them to do what they've had to do, there's had to been multiple things that have never been done in history before. The Tigers,
sure.
Nothing like that's ever happened.
Which, again, so this goes back to my point. Like, how much credit can you give Vogt?
See, I give Vogt credit for
I give him some credit for sure.
Righting the ship. I mean, because he's galvanized these guys together, and he doesn't care who's out there. All the players speak on it. His thing is win the day, guys. Win the day. Whatever happens, happens. And whether they suck or not, the Daniel Schneemans of the world are winning the days. Daniel Schneeman had a 2-run single and a must-have game last night.
And obviously that run differential comes because they're winning close games, and then when they lose by 3 to 4 runs.
Right, and the offense still is, I think, over the last month, averaging 3.2 runs a game, I believe I read. So, like, you're still not hitting at all. And
which terrifies me come playoff time if they do, in fact, get in.
Right, and I think at this point, I think personally they're going to win a division. I don't see a scenario where they're not in at this point because even though I think they'll win enough games, Texas is probably waving their white flag. Seager's not even going to make the trip to Cleveland. Neither is Semien. I mean, so let's say, to me,
I got to split the next 2, including tonight.
Yeah, you could probably maybe afford one loss to Detroit. Ideally, you don't want to lose.
Correct.
But to me, I think in order to make sure everything happens the way you want, you need to go 4-1 over the final 5. And that's
to ensure yourself, even like 3-2 over the final 5, you need to basically, that ensures that you're in the playoffs.
Right. So
most likely.
But to my point being, you had to have multiple historic things. I mean, this is a team that's had pitching all the way back to Bob Feller in World War II. And this group of Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, and Slade Ciccone, Joey Cantillo, Parker Messick, and Logan Allen have the best team ERA in history. Like, what's happened here is multiple historic things, and you're laughing because the names. It's hilarious. I agree. I'm at a loss for words for some of this stuff that's going on. And there's only one thing that scares me about the entire thing. Ownership's going to say, "Wow, we did it with $100 million. Let's cut it to 90. We can do it next year." That's the only problem with everything that's going on. Ownership is going nuts right now, thinking, wow, we cut from $110 million to 100. Let's cut it to 90 or 85 next year. And at some point, you could only squeeze so much blood from the turnip.
Well, I think this whole offseason is going to be around marketing the new future star of Bazana, hopefully starting opening day. And I think that's how they're going to try to rejuvenate the fan base if we don't actually go out and spend, which of course we're not going to.
No.
But I think that's what they're going to try to market this entire offseason around, is that's going to be the big acquisition.
Yeah.
Is calling up our middle infield like overall pick.
Yeah. And we will have plenty of time to criticize in the
Who cost you a
offseason,
bag of chips?
like we like we did last year. But ownership loves it because most of your key contributors who are doing things right now all make $700,000, so they're jumping for joy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. By this time next week, who the hell knows what's going to happen? We both think they're going to win the division.
We do.
So we think we'll probably be in a playoff series next week. We will see what happens, but we could either be talking off. We have no idea how next week's show's going to go.
There's a legitimate shot we win the division, or even if we don't win the division, that we face the Tigers round 1 in the wild card.
Absolutely.
Very realistic shot.
Absolutely. So I have one more thing. This is a general thing. When you have a collapse like Detroit's had, and we've made mention of it many times, do you think, and I think AJ Hinch is a damn good manager. I do, but he is the one who oversaw all this. How does Detroit go in their offseason not doing house cleaning? I think you got to fire the GM.
I don't think so.
The manager, all that. I don't think they will.
I don't think they should.
They're cheap too, but I think when something like this happens, you got to wipe the slate clean.
I don't know if I can get behind that.
Okay.
I don't know if I can, especially the run they had last year in order to actually get into the playoffs. I do think a lot of those players like playing for him, and I genuinely think that there's a good culture in that clubhouse. I just think off of a 3-week, 4-week stretch that they've had, like to completely clean house over that, I think would be an overreaction.
Well, the only thing I remember something similar, and it's someone we're all familiar with, in 2011, Terry Francona's team had a total collapse, and they went like 6-25 in the month of September, and he got fired. So the only thing I could think of is, like, if they did do it, it wouldn't shock me. But I also know how cheap that organization could be, the Tigers, sometimes, and that's
Sure.
where I think they have those guys locked up long term, and their president of baseball ops and Scott Harris and AJ Hinch, and I don't know that they will.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
fair.
it's something that they probably have to look at seriously, because, I mean, what AJ Hinch is a good manager. What he's overseeing right now is historic, and he's got to wear it too, like everybody else in that.
No, sure, no,
does.
I agree. I just think based off of last year, and I think it would be too much of a heat of the moment decision for the Tigers if they were to do that.
Okay. Well,
And then shout out Jose Ramirez though before we switch gears here.
Another 30-30-30. And he's the first to ever do it back-to-back years. So,
Which is just amazing.
Remarkable. And he actually has 40 steals. He's not, I mean, unless he hit 2 home runs every game, that he's not getting.
He's not going to do it.
His 40 home runs this year to be, the second all time to do 40-40-40. But I mean, this guy, it's a new record every night, and I don't want to underestimate any of it. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's more or less remarkable that every time you turn on the telecast, Matt Underwood and Rick Manning and Andre Knott are telling you about another record.
Yeah, he's climbed a rank, or he's gone from 4th to 3rd in some category.
Yes,
it's
second to first.
Exactly.
It is remarkable.
We're witnessing a special player, obviously.
I mean, I think at this point he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. If he did not get into Hall of Fame, I'd be shocked. I saw if he does something, I don't remember exactly what it is. Forgive me to the listening audience and you, Kevin. I apologize.
It's okay.
There's going to be something if he needs 15 more home runs next year. He'll only be the second person to do something outside of Willie Mays, of all people.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so what the guys do every night, it's just Cleveland, enjoy it. Thank him, cherish him for what he did for this franchise. Will never be forgotten and never underappreciated by me.
Yeah, in the words of Paul Dolan, enjoy him.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to go there because that's the problem. Paul Dolan doesn't appreciate it.
I know.
That's the biggest
problem. I didn't
problem.
mean to get you on a tangent here.
No, and we have been so negative, and rightly so. And I don't take back any of the negativity we shot at them, and we criticized them, and we swore up and down at them, and yelled at them all year on this show. All year. That's all still deserved. The front office, I hardly give them any credit. They didn't do much to help them at all. Ownership, we know that. When was the last time they helped with anything? It's the guys in the clubhouse. It's the coaching staff. It's the skipper. It's the players. Those guys, they should celebrate. And it's really going to bother me. And this is just, I'm looking ahead. When they clinch, and they have the plastic wrap up in the lockers, and they're spraying the champagne and drinking the Budweiser, and Paul Dolan and Chris Antonetti are in there with their goggles on. That is going to piss me off beyond belief.
Don't let it take the enjoyment out of it. Come on.
Because neither of those guys lifted a...
we almost had to put an E next to the title.
Neither of those guys lifted a flipping finger for this team. So... no, that's going to bother me. It is. And I know. I don't want to let it bother me too much, but that's going to bother me. I'm just putting it
That'll
out there.
bother me.
It will.
Shout out Sebastian Maniscalco.
It is going to bother me extensively. But anyway, so all good things coming over there on the corner of Carnegie and Ontario, and we hope they continue
so. Yeah,
tonight.
exactly.
And we have thoroughly enjoyed what we've been witnessing. It. Well, you ready to switch gears?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right. It's that time. as producer Eric scrolls down our rundown here so we can be updated on what we need to cover. Thank you, D. And we haven't had much joy over there on the lakefront at 100 Alfred Lerner Way, but boy, did we on Sunday.
Oh, absolutely we did.
Wow. And I'll tell you, Kevin, we didn't see it coming.
Not at all. This was one of those weird games that the Browns have probably once a year where they pull the rabbit out of the hat. Seriously. Like, we were watching that game. And it was about 3.5 minutes left in the fourth, obviously, for those listening that most likely watched the game. And, get the field goal. And I have never seen a quarterback make that throw that Jordan Love made against us on that drive, ever. Like, I have never seen that type of miscommunication to where the opposing team's quarterback throws it directly into our safety's stomach. I have never seen that before. And then just puts us right onto the 5-yard line. Grant dealt it with actually a hell of a return, too. Broke a few tackles, threw Jordan Love off of him, which was awesome. And then we pounded the rock, and Quinshawn Judkins got his first touchdown of his career. Shout out Q.
Absolutely. OH.
I just have never seen.
He won't do it. He won't do it. He won't do it.
I just have never seen that before. Where I remember, like on the broadcast, they were saying before we even had the first field goal, we're still down 10-0. The broadcasters are going, this Browns offense is just lethargic. They've got nothing going on. This defense is keeping them in the game. They can't move the ball at all. They're showing guys in the stands, fans in the stands with their hands on their heads, completely deflated. And it looked like we were literally just going to watch the game end, 17-0, 10-0, and then the Browns weren't going to score. And then all of a sudden, like I said, the Browns, they pull the rabbit out of the hat. And I'm still at a loss for words of how that game ended because I've just never seen us not score for almost 57 minutes of game time and then get 13 points in a matter of 3.5 minutes to win. And that blocked field goal, awesome. And then Andre Schmidt, I don't know about you, I had a great feeling about him actually knocking that kick through. I had a really good feeling about it.
I was nervous. I said my prayers in the stands and
because you were at the game.
I was there.
Yeah.
And, let me get from my point of view on the love
please.
thing. So,
yeah,
I watched people who know X's and O's of football way better than I do, who could break it all down. I watched some of these Browns film breakdown guys, and shout out to many of the accounts that do all that stuff every week for all us fans to see it. The Packers ran triple slants on that. Okay. And Delpit's actually on the other side of the field, and he was smart enough to recognize the play. He cheats over.
He baited, yeah.
And he baited Love into doing that. And that's a great individual play by Grant Delpit. Here's my thing on that. I obviously enjoyed the hell out of the win. We don't know how many we're going to get this year. To beat a NFC contender like that felt damn good. I was ecstatic in the stands, jumping for joy. Me and my fellow season ticket holders around me were some of them I know, great guys, and women up there. We're jumping for joy. My dog bow necklace breaks. It was like a confetti launch, beads flying everywhere. It was unbelievable. Here's my thing. I put that on coaching too. If you're Matt LaFleur, all you got to do there is run the football. And the ball
100%.
Game is over.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
Because the Browns had already burned 2 timeouts before Love even threw that interception. It's 3rd and 3. I understand that's the best defensive line in the NFL. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Cleveland Browns have the best defensive line in the NFL.
I'm going to say it's easily top 5. I don't know if I'm going to say best yet, but it's a phenomenal defensive line.
Josh Jacobs hadn't moved more than 2 inches all day long. Everything was 1, 2, 3. 3-yard runs at the max, -2, So I get maybe LaFleur got scared about that and, that Jacobs was just going to, but here's the thing. So there's 3 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. You punt the ball there, you run another 30 seconds off, then another 30. The Browns are getting it with 2:30 left. And the Browns offense had not moved the ball all day long.
Yep.
If you're Matt LaFleur, what in the hell gives you any indication the Browns are going to be able to move the ball 75 to 80 yards?
No idea. No idea.
I don't understand that.
There were many questionable decisions that the Packers made on Sunday too. Like for instance, at the end of the third quarter, clock winding down, they did not have to snap the ball. They do. And then Schlesinger, who was clearly in a QB spy right there, sees Love roll out. He's like a heat-seeking missile right at him, blasts him to end the quarter, and the Packers lose like 10 to 15 yards, as opposed to even Love just throwing the ball away or taking it to the end of the third quarter. Like multiple mistakes on that play alone, too, to keep the Browns in it.
Yeah, and Schlesinger on that, I'll give him credit. He blasted the shit out of him, pardon my language, as legally as you could, because he led with the shoulder, went to the chest, because you know how you can't play defense nowadays in the no fun league.
Yep.
And Schlesinger, as clean as he could have done it, laid him out as cleanly as you can, with as effectively as you can in 2025 NFL.
Oh, no, absolutely. And Schlesinger, I still get a little bit of, I should say FOMO, but just with JOK not being out there, could you imagine seeing those two together? I mean, they actually both play very similarly too. I didn't realize how shifty Schlesinger was, but he gets like in and out of his breaks and gets right past offensive linemen or right past leading blockers like pretty easily. And I didn't think he would be like that.
He's unbelievable. Kid's up for Rookie of the Week, I believe.
Yeah, and Andre Schmidt, shout out Schmidt. He got Special Teams Player of the Week this week, which was awesome for him. Yeah, it was awesome just to see that bounce back from him, that rough week one.
And you know, the backstory, which nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Public.
Yeah.
And, you know.
You want to fit the listening crowd in on that?
I think a lot of people who, you know, MF'd him and said a lot of mean things to him might have been a little more, might have had a little bit more of their heart showing had they known that week one. Still, I mean, listen, I don't mean to be heartless myself, but, you know, your job as a kicker, unfortunately, is to make it. But for the personal redemption story, you had to feel great for the kid.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was, I forget what the exact, he lost his mom a few months ago, is what the story was, correct?
Yeah, she had a brain aneurysm.
That's what it was. Okay.
I believe July 10th.
Okay.
And then training camp started July 25th, so the kid had
he had 2 weeks basically.
No grieving time.
Yeah, exactly.
Late mother. I wanted to get into this a little bit here with the Browns. So, how ineffective the offense is. Are we putting it on the offensive line, which now is down to Juwan Jones again, unfortunately? And that I just feel for that young man, because when he's been out there all 3 years, he's been a damn good tackle.
Yeah.
Problem is, every year ends in a knee injury. And I saw some people say that you're not supposed to go below or launch your head as an offensive player. Now, whether that Packers guy did it on purpose or not, it still should have been a penalty. The refs missed that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, but it's one of those unfortunate things, though, that happen. And I don't think the Packers player was doing it deliberately either. I think he's just trying to get around a block. But yeah, it's wildly unfortunate.
To get around a mountain of a man.
Yeah, and it is wildly unfortunate, because when Jones has been in there, like you just said, Jerome, I won't say at left tackle specifically, but at right tackle, he's been a great right tackle for us.
Damn good.
Yeah.
And it sucks that he's out for the year again. So now you're looking at, you better hope Conklin gets back, because the offense has enough problems. They don't need KT Livingston and Cornelius Lucas as the starting right and left tackle.
I want to see Tevin Jenkins in there on Sunday.
I don't think you're going to.
Well, if then they don't want solid offensive line play at all. I mean, Lucas is grading out on, like, you know how we talk about Myles Garrett is all the way at the right and all the way at the top of, like, these charts that they show of edge rushers, like
Y graphs.
Yeah, Cornelius Lucas is at, like, literally the bottom left when I was looking at some offensive tackle grades and stuff. Like, he is, and it's noticeable out there too. I'm not just relying on these graphs to give me this info. Like, I am noticing on the football field, this offense, I'm going to blame it on the offensive line, I'm going to blame it on the receivers, and I'm going to blame a little bit of it on quarterback play too, because outside of week one, Joe Flacco has not been there for us so far. The wide receivers have let him down. The offensive line's also let him down. The only two groups I look at and say they have done their job pretty much week in and week out are the running backs and the tight ends.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to put last Sunday a lot on Joe Flacco. I didn't think that the Packers pass rush got home in a quick amount of time. I thought for having two backup tackles in there, they held up okay. Like, I thought the line held up okay. It is, you know this, being in the stadium, you see the routes develop. You see everything from up top. When 65,000 drunk people can see that Jerry Judy's running wide open. Isaiah Bond's running wide open. Cedric Tillman is wide open. And Joe Flacco's throwing it at Quinshon Judkins' feet and getting booed for it. You got to look at Joe. He can't see it. I'm wondering if he just can't see it anymore. He can't react to it. It's just not there.
That Isaiah Bond play, I know the exact one you're talking about. That would have been 6, where he was right over the middle. And I trust Isaiah Bond. I know he's an undrafted rookie. We all thought, he's probably a day 2 talent when it came to the NFL draft. But I trust him to make a move on that safety there. I honestly do. Because there was that safety that was over top, but there was nobody else really around him. And he had the ball. The safety was about 15-ish yards away from him. You give him that much space, I think Isaiah Bond's going to figure out a way to get around him.
There was a rollout play in which Judy was wide open. And I mean, like, there wasn't a white jersey within 10 yards of him. And he elected to throw it to Jerome Ford for a 4-yard loss, and that's when the dog pound had enough.
The Boo Birds were out.
Big time.
Which leads me to another question for you, talking about this bad quarterback play. And I've heard some of these takes on Sports Talk Radio, Cleveland Sports Talk Radio. I've seen some of the pundits on Twitter, talking about this as well. Are you in favor of making a quarterback change right now? The quarterback change would be to Dylan Gabriel.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
This week.
Okay.
Listen, I know that Joe Flacco, and I just said it too, he was horrendous on Sunday.
Yeah, he was bad.
There's no ands, if, or buts about it. He was atrocious. But there's one thing that I'll give him credit for. Joe Flacco led a flawless 25-second drive to even give Schmidt a chance, in the sense that somebody wasn't lined up and you heard Joe on the hot mic. He got it. He made sure that they were on the line. I believe it was Tillman, actually. Then also, you saw that when Njoku got up, there was 9 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and say, with that little amount of time left, probably 5 out of 32 teams get that ball spiked and get everybody to the line in time. The Browns executed that flawlessly.
Yeah, they did. And I do think we got away with a little bit of it, because I know actually, like, David Njoku actually did not spot the ball correctly. It was about a yard or two off in favor of the Packers' field position, actually. So I think that's probably a reason why the refs didn't make too big of a deal about it. But I thought it was cool that the ref just went in, because he has to touch the ball, and then left. Yeah, because he's like, I am not going to.
And he was flying.
Yeah, he was flying. And I have never seen a ref not be that narcissistic in my life. Typically they'll hold the ball. Let's make sure what we can do to keep the game in our control. And luckily for that referee, I wish I knew his name, because he's probably my new favorite referee in the NFL, because just that's the way that refs should do it. Just about every single time. Just do your little part. Don't make it all about you, and let the game go on. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought it was too. And Joe got them where they needed to be to give Andre the chance. He got them. They got up there and spiked that ball. And even like looking back, obviously I was in the stadium, so I didn't hear it. Listening to, the radio broadcast with Andrew Siciliano, and I'm not mentioning the other guy. I can't stand him. Or the television broadcast with Kevin Kugler and Moose Johnson. They were all baffled by how quickly the Browns got to the line. And I was too, in the stadium. I'm like, oh my God. Because like, first reaction, I'm like, why are you going over the middle? Like, there's no way you could stop this clock.
There's 9 seconds and we have no timeouts.
I'm like, what are you doing? And then I think what it was too was if you gave Joe Flacco truth serum and you asked who he trusted the most on this team, it's Njoku. He 100% loves Njoku.
I don't even think you'd have to give him truth serum. I think he would probably say that straight up. Joe Flacco can be a straight up guy.
Yeah. And so the way that they got that, and with all this being said, it goes back to my initial point. I don't trust Dylan Gabriel, and you're going to be shocked by this, or Shedeur Sanders to execute that.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't
quickly. Either. That's where the 18 years of being in these games comes into play. And yes, again, he was horrendous. But when push came to shove, yes, I understand people are going to be like, wow, you're going nuts for a 4-play, 16-yard drive. but there's a vital 4-play, 16-yard drive, and Joe got it done.
So I actually read a report, or I heard a report, and I wish I could source it. I apologize that I can't. That randomly throughout practice, Stefanski will yell, "Clock it," so that no matter who is on the field, they are ready for that moment, and it clearly showed on Sunday. So you got to give your props to Kevin Stefanski for right there. Seriously, obviously perfectly executed, saved us the game, potentially the season if we have maybe 3 or 4 more wins than us. But seriously, I mean, it was.
Well, no, and to your point, yeah, we all know the Browns aren't going to win many games this year. I mean, I was on the optimistic guy and said 7. You said 5, I believe.
I said 5, yeah.
Okay, but point being, guess what? There's a hell of a difference between 0-3 and 1-2, and
yeah, there is.
And they were able to. And how many times have we seen the Browns be on the other end of what the Packers were on?
Oh, absolutely.
Just pissing down a game down your leg like that.
No, seriously.
I mean, over and over. Our whole lifetime they've pissed away games like that. And then being on the other side, A, shocked everybody.
Yep.
B, just about gave everybody a heart attack. And C, in the final 4 minutes, you cannot you can watch the film over and over again. I dare you, and I'm going to pose a challenge to our listeners. Find one mistake the Cleveland Browns made in the final 4 minutes of that game. You won't.
No, you won't.
You will not find it.
No, it was perfectly executed. Now, you go and watch the first 56 minutes of that game.
You'll find about 87,000 mistakes.
You'll find a ton of them.
And to your point about the offense being pathetic and lifeless, this one really hit home because it made me realize how bad it was. You're sitting there, you're watching the game live, you're going, "Oh my God, they can't move the ball," and you're sitting there and they put up the time possession on the scoreboard, and you're thinking, how many more times can the defense do it? And they answered the bell
every time,
single time,
every time. And I think probably. I was gonna say Sunday might have been Denzel Ward's best game, but I might still give him the Bengals game. He was amazing during the Bengals game, but he was phenomenal on Sunday.
And people say, "Oh, the Browns, these veterans, they don't want to win. They realize they're mailing it in." Find that again, because I'm not a big Marvel guy, but Denzel Ward looked comparable to any Marvel movie made in the last 20 years when he was flying in for that McManus field goal.
Oh, he absolutely.
He was in mid-flight.
Yeah, he was.
He looked like a plane leaving Hopkins.
Yeah, no, he was parallel with the ground.
And I've watched it over and over and over again, and I know Big Shelby got his bear paw up, and he is a specialist at that. That's 6 over his 12-year career. And he got up there, and he said, I think it's funny, because his exact quote was, "All my family and friends are from Green Bay, so they are pissed as hell at me." He goes, "I think it's hilarious."
Yeah.
But I still believe Denzel got a piece of that before Shelby did. Just a little bit, maybe to slow it down enough, the way he flew.
Maybe. I didn't notice anything change when it got passed. I mean, I'm not trying to sell it short either, because Denzel Ward went absolutely nuts to try to get that ball. He went crazy for it. But yeah, it was awesome that Shelby got his big mitt on it, his big paw on it, and saved the game. That's another game-saving play, seriously, because they probably make that field goal. It's Brandon McManus.
It's a 43-yarder.
Exactly, for an absolute veteran kicker in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Done it for over a decade.
Sitting there thinking in the stands, "Oh, we're done," because they had a little dump off, and it was one of the few times all day the Browns defense got fooled, and it was a little bit Jordan Love drew one of the linebackers in, and then they dumped it right over his head to Tucker Kraft. He rumbles down, and you're thinking, "Oh, man, we're cooked."
Yeah.
And we weren't. And it was fantastic.
No, we weren't.
We enjoyed every second of it. We both thought the Browns were going to lose. I said they'd cover, but I didn't think they'd win outright.
No, I was completely
I thought they'd
wrong.
lose by less than 8.5, but I didn't think they'd win outright like that.
No, I thought they'd lose, and I thought that they wouldn't cover, so I was completely wrong, and I couldn't be more happy to be wrong.
Absolutely.
It was a special game on Sunday.
Special. And so this is to make a one last point about how bad the Browns offense was. You're going to need to play a lot better this Sunday. When Quinshon Judkins busted out for his 38-yard run, that individual play was longer than any drive the Browns have put together at that point.
Oh, my goodness. Is that a real stat?
That is a real thing.
Wow.
Confirmed by ESPN Stats and Info. I was baffled by that, but sitting there thinking about it, watching that game, I believe it. And I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say this. I'm a diehard Browns fan. It started pouring down rain. Thought to myself, it's 10-0. I went to the bathroom and I thought, I'm going to walk out of here now. I thought about leaving.
Really?
And boy, would I have been living
Yeah,
with
you
myself.
would have been furious with yourself.
And I'm glad that my orange and brown heart bled through for me to stay there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to comment really quick on that Quinshon Judkins 38-yard run. So right after that run, my brother texts me. And my brother's not my oldest brother, Mike. He's not the biggest like college football fan in the world, so he doesn't know all the prospects or whatever. Just knew we had this second round running back from Ohio State. And Judkins breaks through, gets that 38-yard run, and he texts me and he goes, "Man, I thought he would have been faster. Nick Chubb probably breaks that for 6." Which I do think Nick Chubb always had that second gear that he would hit once he got out into the open field. And which goes back to kind of what we were talking about in the draft stages, just that breakaway speed. Judkins just doesn't have it. But regardless, he's had a great first 2 weeks in the NFL. He's been phenomenal.
Absolutely. And I thought about this too. Like I saw he's getting hit initially before any other running back. And even though the Browns, as we pointed out, could not move the ball at all on Sunday, you're watching him. You're sitting there in the stands or on your television set, wherever you were, our listeners, and you're watching him just run into a pile, and you're like, oh, and you look where they spot the ball, and you're like, oh, he pushed that for 5, he pushed that for 6.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting hit immediately, and he is strong as hell.
Yeah.
He may not have that afterburner speed, hell of an in between the tackles.
Oh, he is, and that's exactly what we talked about too throughout that draft process with him. And I also thought it was very cool. After his touchdown, he's going up to the fans. He's pumping the fans up. He's standing on the benches, pumping the fans up. And then after the game, actually, I want to say it might have been Monday or Tuesday. He had posted a few pictures from the game on Instagram, and a caption at "Cleveland, I love you." And it's like he's been here for 2 weeks. He's already getting invested with the fans. I just like seeing that stuff. It's very cool.
And Andre Schmidt jumping into the dog pound the whole time.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you what, a lot of those guys. It reminded me, and you could see how bad everybody in that building out there in Berea needed a win. A lot of those guys you're watching, it reminded me of high school football. They were linked, arm in
absolutely.
arm, up and down the sideline, and they went nuts. And even, Myles Garrett, the NFL Films has come out with that thing I'm sure everybody's seen of him sitting there saying he's watching on the bench. He said, "Come on, Dre. It's your moment.
It's your moment, Dre."
Yep. And Joe Flacco went ballistic too, because I think Joe Flacco knew – had they lose that game, this was a big moment for Joe Flacco. If they lose that game, there's already a lot of calls for it. If they lose that game, even the Browns might switch to Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, yeah, no, probably.
That was a huge, because everybody knows this, as poor as Joe played, you don't change the quarterback when you win.
No, you
just
can't.
Don't.
No, and I'm going to go back to the question that I'd asked you previously about whether or not you would switch quarterbacks. And if we're down by 2+ touchdowns at halftime on Sunday, then that's when I would start to think about maybe putting Gabriel in for the second half or something. Like if they're down by 2+ touchdowns and we've only scored 3 or less points, like let's try something different. I know at the beginning of the year I said I want 6 games out of Flacco, 6 games minimum. And I don't know. I mean, if we're 1-3, I don't know if we can continue to start him, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had to spend so much time on this Packers game, and rightly so. Kevin, they play the Lions this Sunday. How you feeling about that one? We got to get to it quick.
Browns lose by 2+ touchdowns.
Okay, so you don't even think they cover?
No. And I actually wanted to comment really quick about the Andre Schmidt thing. I know we're kind of running out of time here, but going back to the brothers locked in arms, the high school thing, that goes back. I think that goes from the top to the bottom with this locker room, because we saw Garrett doing it, and then I saw a video of them walking into the locker room, and Mohamed Diabite, of all people, had his arm around Andre Schmidt going, "I told you that you were going to win us one," screaming at him. I just think that camaraderie is awesome out of this team.
I think it's really good. So the Browns are 9.5 road dogs. 9.5-point underdogs, I should say, on the road against Detroit. I'm going to go ahead and say the same thing I said last week. They're going to cover. They're not going to win, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't have much time to get into that game, unfortunately. Derek's going to fire us both here shortly if we don't get a move on it. Kevin, we got to get in our game picks of the week real quick. Let's talk about some of these huge college football games.
Yeah.
And we got to start with. I think you got to start with number 6 Oregon at number 3 Penn State. James Franklin has had a knack for not winning the big game. How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, so I mean, James Franklin, the only big game I can remember him winning was actually against this team last year in the Big Ten championship game against Oregon. But he is known to not win the big game. I'm going to take Oregon going into Penn State to win. But I'm going to say I do want to see Drew Aller look good. I do, because typically when I turn him on, I want to like him and I don't walk away too impressed, but I want to see him have a big game against Oregon.
Absolutely. And according to ESPN Bet here, that's who we're using to get our lines and our odds for you folks out there. Penn State 3.5 point home favorites. I like what you like. I like Oregon to go in there and not only cover but win outright.
Yeah, I'm taking
right
the Ducks outright.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, another ranked matchup. Number 23 Illinois against number 21 4-0 USC. This game is home for Illinois. USC a 6.5 point road favorite. Here's the thing. They said Illinois was really good. Well, I watched them get the shit kicked out of them by Indiana last week. I have no faith in the Illini. I like USC on the road to cover the 6.5 points and win.
I like the Trojans outright as well.
Yep. All right. Another big one, Kevin. We'll take you down to the SEC, where you have the number 4 LSU Tigers heading in to Oxford, Mississippi, to take on the number 13 ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Both teams 4-0. Ole Miss 1.5 point favorites at home. Who do you like?
I'm taking Ole Miss to cover and win outright. LSU, just Brian Kelly can't really ever win the big game, and the big game we thought he won earlier this year was against a fraudulent program in Clemson. Give me the Rebels.
I agree entirely. I like Ole Miss to cover and win. And then finally, the number 17 ranked Alabama. So weird not seeing them.
Dude, I thought the same. I was looking at the rankings earlier today. I thought the same thing.
And number 5 Georgia at home. That game is in Athens. UGA, according to ESPN Bet, 3.5 point favorites. I like Georgia at home to cover and win.
Georgia's going to win. Bama's going to cover, though.
Oh,
Georgia by a field goal. Georgia by a field goal.
Georgia by a field goal. Okay. All right. So Kevin likes Bama to cover, but not win outright. All right. We are going to do 3 picks a week here. Well, we did a little bit more this week. We're going to switch it between college and NFL. We had to cover the college slate, though, this week because...
Yeah, I think regardless for college football, if it's a ranked opponent versus ranked opponent, we got to be predicting it no matter what.
Yeah, we're going to try to do that for you guys. Big week of college football this week.
Yeah.
Ohio State, my team at home, on the road in Washington to play the Huskies. So Ohio State will, obviously, I think they're going to dominate them. We'll see what happens. I don't think Washington's any good.
And Notre Dame's going into Arkansas, which I actually fully expect that to be a tough game for the Irish.
Yeah, Ohio State, 7.5 point road favorites. I like the Buckeyes to cover and win. And then, Kevin, you said your team. We always cover our own teams here. Notre Dame, 4.5 point road favorites. Do you like them to cover and win?
I do like them to cover and win.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually think that's a pretty good spread because I think it's probably going to be a 6 to 7 point victory. I probably would have maybe given the Irish a couple more points, but I think the spread's appropriate.
The Hogs are 2-2.
Yeah, but they're one of those, that they can be an upset team, the Razorbacks.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into odds and ends real quick. How about the Baltimore Ravens, 1-2? They now face the Kansas City Chiefs,
who are also 1-2. One of those teams being 1-3 is going to be weird, unless of course it's going to be 1-2-1 for both of them.
Which that could take place. That game going on. That's the big Nance Romo 425 special on CBS. I think Kansas City's going to win. I don't trust Lamar in big games. I just don't. I had a big debate with Rob when he filled
Where
in.
is that game actually taking place? I didn't see.
That game's in Arrowhead.
Yeah, you think you got to ride with the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, I think so. That's crazy. One of those teams are going to be 1-3, as you pointed out.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts.
It really
Especially like 2 out of the 3 best AFC teams, arguably. I thought the Chargers at 3-0 right now, beating all of their divisional opponents already is nuts.
Absolutely. And I also think just a weird schedule, weird thing in the schedule. How about the Browns play all 3 NFC North teams, 3 of the 4 right in a row? Because you played the Packers.
Yeah,
now
we're
you
going
play
to
the
Minnesota
Lions.
after this.
Why didn't they just schedule us the Bears? Then randomly throw the Bears in December. Bizarre. No, yeah, very bizarre. A couple other odds and ends things for you. Cavs had their media day. They signed Thomas Bryant, which I actually think is a notable sign.
I think it's
the
a
other
big
one,
time
not
signing.
So much.
Because Thomas Bryant actually out-rebounded Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in that Pacers series last year.
He was huge against us
He was
last year.
huge.
So the Cavs couldn't beat Thomas Bryant, so they told him to come join them.
Yeah, he pulled the Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Actually, no, because he didn't lose to us.
No, yeah. The Cavs pulled a Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and went to go get him.
Killian Hayes, I don't think he'll end up playing for the Cleveland Charge.
Probably.
Most of the year. I
Yeah.
don't think that one's too notable. Although, I guess Killian Hayes had a relationship with Kenny Atkinson. That's why this happened.
Interesting.
Cavs Media Day was yesterday. They said all the right things, but, I mean, media days are always overwhelmingly positive. When did somebody have an NBA Media Day and go up there and say, wow, we're really going to suck this year?
No, it never happens.
No.
Everybody's smiling. Everybody's got their uniforms
Everybody's happy to
on.
be back.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell was in town. He went to the Guardians game, which drove Mets fans nuts. Did you see that on social media?
Yeah. Absolutely furious that a Cleveland athlete would be at a Cleveland sporting event.
He should be home watching the Mets.
Well, the Mets got it done for him that same night.
They did. That was all last night. And then the Ryder Cup is USA versus Europe. Obviously, I'm more of a golf fan than Kevin. That is happening this weekend as well. So that's also big sports weekend.
It is.
Big
Should be exciting.
Weekend.
Yeah, we got a couple college games Friday evening too, I believe.
Absolutely, you got big time college football going on. The NFL, always a big story, no matter what.
Always.
End of baseball finishing out. Pennant races galore going on, and then the Ryder Cup. Lots of stuff going on. We're going to try to keep our 8 eyes up here on it all for you.
That's right.
And we're going to try to do that, and we'll try to cover as much as we can next week. You make sure to follow us on social media at CLE Sports Realm. Posting stuff for you. Thanks for everybody who voted on the polls the other day. We were
That's
trying
right.
to
On
gauge the
Instagram.
pulse of the Cleveland fans on some Guardians and Browns related topics. So thanks for voting. We appreciate it. Derek, thank you for everything you did over there and letting us go on overtime here a little bit. And then obviously make sure you can listen to this episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Have a great night. Go Guardians, go Browns, go Buckeyes.
Go Tribe.